Introduction to Cloud Computing, Amazon's Simple Storage Solution. Now, no matter what you do in the world of computers, you are going to have information or data that needs to be stored. Now, not only should it be stored locally on your hard drive or maybe even on your company's RAID arrays for backup, but also off-site. Now, many people use tape backups or other mediums like CDs or DVDs, and then they send them off to a place off-site. Now, that's great, but then to get access to it, that requires sometimes a little bit of time. Now, there are many secure storage solutions out there, but the one that we're going to introduce you to today is the well-known Amazon S3. When looking at Amazon's S3, it's a little different than your, what some people would call your backup things like iDisk and Mozy and Carbonite, which we show in a separate CBT nugget. Instead here, we're going to take a look at the basics of Amazon's S3, Simple Storage Solution. We'll show you how to sign up for your Amazon Web Services account, the security requirements necessary for whatever interface you are going to use. Most people are going to be using a third-party application interface, so we'll show you how to download and install a very popular one called Atomic Drive. And then we will actually demo the interface and show you how simple it is once you get it in place just to take files and put them up there on Amazon S3 and then bring them right back down. So here we are with our, of course, our infamous cloud up here. And we've got Ursula the user and we've got Dan the developer. Now, both of these individuals are going to be utilizing Amazon's S3. So we'll put that up here. You got Amazon is out here, and they want to use the storage solution, simple storage solution. Now, here's the difference, really, honestly, and you're going to see this as we sign up for the Amazon S3, is that Ursula really, in her mind, just wants to be able to take some files. So, we got her little, file here, and she wants to take her files, and she wants to put them up here into the cloud. Now, the way that she's going to do that in the Amazon world is you have to realize all that's up here are the Amazon storage servers up here, and they have the ability to store stuff. But the interface, I'm going to put it right here, the interface to do that is not given by Amazon. In fact, there's third-party interfaces. We're going to show you one called Atomic Drive that Ursula, the user, will use to simply say, I want to put my files, whatever they are, and I want to put them up onto these servers. Now, this is going to be your typical user. And as an IT guy, as I'm doing the CBT nugget for you, all I can think of is you're going to have however many users, and they're going to want to use a particular file, and you're going to have an account, and people will be able to put up their files out here on your Amazon S3 servers. Now, the way that you're going to do that is you are going to need to have an AWS account. That's Amazon Web Services account. We'll show you how you sign up for that. So that'll be great for Ursula the user. But what about Dan the developer? This is the cool part. Your Amazon Web Services account allows Dan to access, but he doesn't have to use a pre-built interface. Instead, Amazon is going to give him the code to basically to write his own interface or own applications. In other words, Dan the developer, if you have a developer in the house, can now write a little application that might integrate with your virtual drives, or might integrate with your backup systems, or might integrate with your, hey, why not use your Google Docs and Google Apps and stuff that are saved locally? Well, now you can have them be sent over here to Amazon S3 as another backup. So now you have that information not only on Google's servers, but you also have them over here on Amazon S3. So that's kind of getting that redundancy into place. But to do that, you would need to take the code and actually write an application or add the code to an existing application, and create a little button and go boop boop, and click here to open up the interface to send the file. Because understand, Amazon has all these servers, and out here on these services or servers are what they call buckets. So there's a bucket. See the bucket right here? And here's your little handle on the bucket. And so what you're doing is when you take these files, you can create these buckets to put the files, and you can create more than one bucket. So in other words, you could create a bucket for Ursula the user, and that's where Ursula's files go in. And as a developer, you could say, well, I'm going to create, with my little application code, I'm going to create multiple buckets, and that's how they view them out here. Here's our little buckets. And so each user will have their own bucket. Or you can create a bucket for individual files, like all Word documents can go into one bucket, or Office documents can go in one bucket. All images, pictures, video can go into another one. All spreadsheets, accountant kind of information. And then you can code in each one for each account, and that way you can separate those. That's the power of Amazon's S3, the storage solution that's out here on the web. So now what we need to do in order to get started is probably the most important thing, and that is, how do you get a Amazon Web Services account? All right, we're going to go ahead and get started here by opening up our web browser. And the place we're going to want to go is aws.amazon.com. That's amazonwebservices.amazon.com, because if you go to the regular Amazon web page for like buying books, you will not see this. I mean, buried deep down in, they have a little link that you can go to. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do any of the things that you see here, is you're going to need to create an AWS account, or an Amazon Web Services account. Now that is going to allow you to have access. Let me scroll down here to show you. To access any of their products and services, you do need to have that account. Now what we're going to be looking at primarily today is going to be the Amazon Simple Storage Service. But just recognize, I mean, depending on the needs of your company, you can have database, RDS, which is really neat, relational database services. You can do fulfillment with e-commerce. Of course, Amazon selling all those books in everything that they do. I mean, they sell and buy everything, and you can pretty much do everything on Amazon. Well, they'll give you that capability through their fulfillment web services. Computing, this is a big one now, Elastic Compute Cloud, EC2, MapReduce, scaling, things like that. And one for the storage, because that's primarily what we're talking about here. Notice that AWS import export. Let's say that you folks have a tremendous amount of data. Let's say you have almost a terabyte of data that you want to store out there and have access to. Well, that using just the internet, where you're uploading and putting up a block and putting up another block and putting up another block, that would take a long time. Instead, you can take all of your data and put it onto a storage device. It could be, again, it could be a hard drive, it could be tape, it can be several different types of devices, and you can put in your keys. As we're going to see, you're given a key access ID and key number, and they will do it at their location. I mean, they'll plug directly into those giant servers, those storage servers that are out there, and they will do it that way. Now, it does cost. There is a fee, but it will take a lot less time. So just depending on what you want. Now for small businesses, medium-sized businesses, again, this might be one of those backup things. Just the simple storage service is probably what you're going to want to do. Now, Amazon is just storage on, S3 is storage for the internet. So we can do that. You're going to want to sign up for Amazon S3. Now there's a couple ways of doing that. When I click on this, you can, of course, sign in with a returning user if you are already a member. Some of you probably have Amazon accounts where you buy books. They will allow you to use, they'll import all of your data from like your address, your the credit card you use to purchase things. So if you have a company card that you're using, hey, no problem, just let it import it. But in this case, we're going to be a new user. I'm going to say Mr. CBT Nuggets at gmail.com. Now, we're going to go ahead and click in Sign In using our secure server, and it's going to start asking for some information. So what is my name? We're going to say Chris W. My email address, type it again. And of course, you guys can all do that. We're going to put in a top secret password here that no one will know except you, and then you're going to want to go ahead and create the account. Now what's going to happen is it's going to start asking you for information about your company and who you are and things like that. So, and first thing, we're going to put in an address line here, and I'm going to go ahead and fill this out Again, not giving you guys my home address and stuff like that and phone number. And then you're going to come down here and it's going to say, all right, what is your customer agreement? You're going to type in the security check, the above letters, and then click continue. So I'm going to pause for just a second, and when we come back, we'll continue on. So once we went ahead and filled in that information, it brings us to this page, Amazon Simple Storage Service, or S3, and the pricing. Now this is important. Most of you will have done the research. You don't even have to sign up to see this information. You can see it from their front page. But it tells you in our US, United States region, that you will pay basically 15 cents per gig for the first 50 terabytes per month of storage used. So, really inexpensive storage that you're going to use. And obviously, the more you use, the cheaper it is. So it just depends on how much you have. The data transfer, this is coming in, and data transfer, it's going to be again 15 cents per gigabyte for the first 10 terabyte. And of course, by the time this CBT Nugget is recorded, your June 30th might have already passed, in which case you're going to pay for your data transfer out that you have in. Now, of course, there are also requests. Anytime you put, copy, post, or list requests, it's 1 cent. And then, all other requests, you're going to pay per 10,000 get and all other requests. So per 1,000. So, that's 1 cent per 1,000, and it's only 1 cent per 10,000 get. So when you go out and try to get it, so they're charging you just on that little access. And depending on where your regions are, the western half is a little bit different. If you're in the eastern, the European Union in Ireland, which is where they are, you're going to pay this much. And so the prices are pretty comparable. Don't worry too much. For definitions here, you can read underneath, and includes all file overhead. So you don't have to worry about, well, that might be 2 gigs of information, but the file overhead for the am I paying extra for that? Because that could be big if I have terabytes of information. Now here's where we're going to go ahead and we're going to put in a credit card. I'm going to go ahead and do that, pause, and see you on the other side. And then you, of course, when you do it, you'll go ahead and click continue to continue signing up. And once you've gone ahead and put all that information in, they're going to say a nice thank you. You've created your Amazon Web Services account. Now what's going to happen is they're going to email you the confirmation and information about our new account. So we'll go over and check that in just a second. Now notice, though, they will tell you all about all the other fun web services that are available, not only the Simple Storage Service, which you are going to be utilizing. So we can do that. So one of the things we're going to do now is I'm going to come over here. Going to open up a new website here for our Gmail. Type in Mr. CBT Nuggets. Our CBT Nuggets gmail.com comes up, and here it is, our Amazon Web Services, ready to go. So we'll go ahead and click on the Amazon Web Services, and it's going to tell you thank you. And here is where it's very important. In order to make the requests and to actually go through, you are going to need access identifiers. This is part of those security requirements that we talked to. You're going to need an access key in order to use one of the applications that we're going to use. Now, of course, we've got CyberDuck for Mac, and of course, Atomic Drive for PC, and it also works on Mac and Linux as well. So if you wanted to find out what your access key is, you simply click here. It's going to open up another window here. Bring it down so you can see it. Once we've logged in, it's going to tell us, here we go. Here is our access key. So this is how you are going to access using whatever application that you use, or as a developer, you would then create an application that would use this access key in order to get into the thing. Now, there are key pairs here. There is the access key ID and then the secret access key, which you would then click show there. Now, you can create new access keys if you want, so you can do that. Now, I'm not going to show you what my secret access key is, so you guys don't start utilizing my simple storage services here, but this is going to be very important to go forward for that. So we're going to remember this access key ID, and then we're going to go out and set up. So now what we're going to do is go in and we're going to download the actual application that is going to allow us to go in and put our data up and request our data back down. Now, just a reminder, gang, that when I recorded this CBT Nugget, there are several developer solutions out there that we can utilize, but they might have changed since we've recorded this CBT Nugget. In which case, the best way to do this, I'm going to show you, and by the way, this will get us to Atomic Drive, the one that I'm going to use. You click on Support, come down here to Frequently Asked Questions, the facts. When you click on that, it's going to take you to your technical facts for, of course, we want to use Amazon S3. So I click on Amazon S3, and down under here, you're going to notice something. How do I start using Amazon S3? And then they give you a whole bunch of other information about the buckets that you're going to create, the blocks that will be put into those buckets. But the one that you're going to want to see right here is how do I start using Amazon S3? And what this does is it says, okay, if you're a developer, here's some code samples, technical documentation on what's happening up there, what kind of system you're utilizing, the developer forums. But here, you got to love this. If you have no development experience and just want a storage solution, click here on the Solutions Catalog. Now, again, this is the part where it might change. Now, what I'm showing you is as of the recording of the CBT Nugget. And they give you all kinds of different ones here. You've got Arc, which is one that's good. You've got Solution. You got AWS User Interface, which will give you all kinds of things, decent one. But the one that you're going to want to do is go down and keep scrolling down. You might need to go to another page. For the PC is Atomic Drive. You click on Atomic Drive and it's going to come out and give you some more information about the application and what you can do. And then what we're going to do, obviously, is we are going to want to go ahead and download it from the Atomic Drive. So now again, the pricing, your mileage may vary on what you want to use, but we're going to go ahead and click on the atomicdrive.com. That's going to open up here for Amazon Web Services. And by the way, I love this part. No commitment. You can cancel it anytime. If you don't like how it works, boom, not a problem. This one runs on Windows, Mac, and Linux. On my Mac, I actually run one called CyberDuck, which I will show you the website so you can go in and look at that. But we're going to go ahead and scroll on over here. And we want to download Atomic Drive. Now, if you don't have Java 6.0 or greater, you will need to download it. Most of you, though, if you have Java running on your PCs, this will automatically be uploaded. So we're going to go ahead and click on Download. It's going to run my Java 6 in place to make sure that everything's working, and we're going to automatically, and you got to love it with the web start, it's going to automatically go in, download the appropriate information. We're going to get this installed and work. I'm going to go ahead and pause here and show you what happens on the other side. Now, once you've done this and you download it, they are going to want to make sure that the Liquid Atom, which is the interface you're going to use, is coordinated up with your Amazon Web Services. So I'm going to go in here, go ahead and sign into the secure server and get the appropriate information that you have. Now, again, they're going to ask you for a method to pay for the Atomic Drive, and they charge you pretty much the same thing that you're going to see for the upload and the download utilizing the Atomic Drive. So this is a great way to utilize this. So we'll go ahead and put in our numbers, and we'll come out the other side. Now, once, of course, we put in and you charge the 43 cents, that'll be charged a month. That's just basically automatic. Of course, you only pay for what you use, and here is the nice activation key that'll be put in. So we can highlight the activation key here, Control-C, come up over here, place it in here, and then activate the new account. Boom, there it goes, and now it's going to say require username and password. Okay, that's fine. We'll go ahead and put that in. Oops, make sure I type it the correct way. And so now we can see all I simply need to do is I got my username, my passwords that match. I click apply, and bada bing, bada boom. Here we go. Atomic Drive is in the house. I'm going to go ahead and scroll it up here. And now All we need to do to start moving our files is utilize a very simple and easy to use interface. So let's go ahead and start off by storing some files. Now what happens is, by the way, you can log out, you can deactivate it, you can quit here, edit, you can copy and paste things if you want to put the particular folders, you can view the file transfers as they happen, and if you have any problems, now remember, this is a developed site, so if there's a problem or something that's been happening, I like it, a defect or enhancement. In other words, something that probably was a surprise to you. You can once you've logged in, by the way, if you want to change your desktop client password, you can do that. You can check to see how healthy, because if you're trying to upload files or get files and you're like, hey, what's going on here? Why isn't this working? You can check to see the health of the services on Amazon and even check out your billing statement. Kind of fun. So those are able to do that. So first thing we're going to do is come up here and click Store Files. When you click on the Store Files, it's going to say, well, what do you want to upload? Well, let's go ahead and we've been using these, so let's go ahead and upload our materials for the science fair. Go ahead and click Upload. At this point, it's going to say, all right, we are going to go ahead and say these are the materials for the science fair. It is 11.27 kilobytes. And then also when you want to, you can just say, okay, I want to upload that. I can also store other files if I want. Let's say if I want to do title for science fair, upload that, and they're uploaded. So now all we have to do, in case we want to make sure that we have something, you want to retrieve a file or store files. If you made an update to this file, you could then restore it to either one of these. So let's say I want to download this and retrieve the file. I click on the retrieve file, and it will typically go to where you were. So let's go into our CBT Nuggets folder here, right there. And got some fun stuff in here. Let's store it here. So I go ahead and click Store Here. It goes in, grabs it, and goes. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come down here. I'm going to come up here to my Documents, go to my Trainer, bring it in over here. We're going to go to my Documents. Now remember, I have it here, right? Because this is originally where I uploaded it. But we went to CBT Nuggets. Ah, look at that. Boom, boom, boom. Date modified. It even has the date that we did that, 2/23. So we know that this is the file that we had. So see, it's a very simple interface, very easy for you to use. And all you have to do, of course, is come in here and have some fun. Store, retrieve files. Simple, easy, very low cost if you're just putting some stuff up and bringing it down. And that's what the key is. We are now utilizing this little application. And by the way, your mileage may vary. You might not like Atomic Drive. You might have a developer in-house that can do it yourself. Good. Go ahead and do that, and that will help you to be able to create your own. And then then you don't have to pay the double the files and everything else. But just remember, in order for you to do this, you are going to need those access key IDs or even X.509 certificates, depending on what type of application you're utilizing. But now you have the cloud in order for you to be able to store things up there on a large basis, access them, move them, transfer them. It's all set up through Amazon's AWS. In this particular case, it's S3, Simple Storage Solution. One thing about CBT Nuggets is we want to make sure you have the information to succeed. And I do want to give this a little bit of extra information about the EC2, the Elastic Compute Cloud. You'll notice Amazon's real cute with their acronyms. It's basically, if it has 2 letters, you'll do EC2, C2, and S3 for Simple Storage Solutions. But the Elastic Compute Cloud is a really great way for you to utilize capacity for computing. In other words, you can run your server instances and all kinds of tools for applications, and you can put them into this computing cloud. It's having, and this is the IaaS, Infrastructure as a Service, where you get access to Amazon's environment to create these little pilot environment clouds. You can create this little cloud network, and you can bang away on their services without affecting your services. It's a great way to do this. Now, Amazon isn't the only one that does it. I just happened to put this into our CBT Nugget because we were talking about Amazon's S3, and because I'm on the page, I definitely wanted to show this to you. And by the way, if you go ahead and you sign up for this and you access everything, you're able then to sign in to the Amazon Web Services Management Console. And so you come in here, and now you have the ability to walk in and start launching instances for your computer. It tells you where it's going to be launched. There's Elastic Map Reduction, which allows you to know if you have content from different places. CloudFront, same thing. So you have this dashboard that you can use and see what the service help is and what resources you're running, how many key pairs, volumes, and all this. So you have access to this through a web interface. Because remember, bottom line is, gang, part of the reason why you're taking the CBT Nugget series is because you want to be out there on the cloud and be able to access this information anywhere in the world, as long as you have an internet connection and a web browser. And this, of course, the AWS control panel or console dashboard is a great way for you to then start utilizing things like EC2, your CloudFront, and other tools. But remember, the S3, the storage, the primary thing that we did, that is going to be utilizing either a little application that you've developed yourself or one of the ones that's available freely out there on the web. Pick your favorite one. Some charge a little bit, some don't. We, of course, recommended the Atomic Drive because that's the one that I use personally. Wow, covered quite a bit of ground in the CBT Nugget as we took a look at Amazon S3, the simple storage solution. Took a look at the basics of how you can either be an end user and utilize the third-party app, or a developer and actually take your files and place them in these buckets that are located out on Amazon's storage servers. We showed you how you sign up for your AWS account, a fairly simple, straightforward procedure. Once you've done that, it is going to tell you where you can access your access keys, or if you're using an X.509, and you also have, of course, key pairs, some really tough security requirements that help you out if necessary. We then downloaded Atomic Drive and installed it. Again, your mileage may vary. I'm not going to recommend it over any. That's the one I tend to use. Go out there, find one, or if you have a developer, go ahead and have him or her develop you a nice little application or interface. Then we saw how easy the interfaces can be. It's a real simple. You are making get and put statements, you have retrieve and everything like that. Very basic protocols that are in operation out there on Amazon S3. I hope you enjoyed the training today, and I'd like to thank you for joining us.